Welcome to the Michelle Tafoya podcast. Think back to when you were about 20, 22 years old. What were you doing with your life? What were your goals? What were your aims? What were your dreams? Did they include forming a school for boys whose values were honor, discipline, commitment, courage, accountability, and consistency? Yeah, I didn't think so. Mine weren't either. Let's meet the guy who's doing it next.
Now, it's time for some sanity. It's the Michelle Tafoya podcast.
So as I am wont to do, I was scouring Twitter, just looking for interesting people to follow. That's kind of a great resource for people in journalism, people in the news. Find out what other people are saying and talking about and thinking. And I came across this young man named King Randall. And he has an organization, and it's basically a school for boys. By the way, they accept cryptocurrency donations. They accept all donations. Hashtag This Is Life Prep, Life Preparatory School for Boys, established 2021. I would love to see this succeed. This is a young man who found himself in Albany, Georgia, looking around and saying, why aren't we preparing our young men for the real world? Why are we teaching them that they are victims? Why are we not giving them actual skills where they can be productive in society? So this young guy decided to do it at the ripe old age of, I think he was 20 or 21 when he started. And you're going to meet him. The Life Preparatory School for Boys is a 501c3 charitable organization with a mission to teach boys the true meaning of manhood and to be protectors and providers for their communities. And I mentioned the values earlier. Through these values, we offer a unique program of self-discovery for the male youth of Albany, Georgia. Honor, discipline, commitment, courage, accountability, and consistency. And it's called the X for Boys program. And they say solve for X. Albany, Georgia, which is this young man's hometown, currently has a crime index of 2 out of 100. And X equals, through his personal advocacy for male youth development, King founded and developed the X for Boys with a mission to teach boys the true meaning of manhood, true masculinity, how to be a team player and collaborate with others, and how to be, again, protectors and providers for their communities. To continue advancing his mission, King is set to open the X for Boys Life Preparatory School. This is what we're going to find out for him. What is the status of this school? Is he moving forward? How many kids does he have? I know they've still got camps going. So I'm coming at this with kind of as little information as you have. And we're going to discover this together and learn about this young man and meet him and find out what drives him. I find this to be, I don't know, restoring my faith in the youth of America, maybe, or at least in this one youth. Speaking of youth, in your youth and throughout your life, really, you have a mom. And your mom does so much for you when you're young. And my mom at 92 years old continues to do so much for me. And so I've got a Mother's Day gift to provide for you. Actually, you got to pay for it, but I'm going to tell you what it is. This is a great gift. Genucel.com. Genucel Skincare. This stuff is amazing. You hear about skincare products from, I don't know, South Korea, other parts of Asia, the Philippines, that are supposed to be magical. I'm going to tell you that Genucel has been magical for me. It is an antioxidant-based, skin-nourishing skincare line. And it's manufactured here in the United States, by the way. It is formulated by a pharmacist. It's got quality ingredients. It smooths out fine lines and wrinkles. I know because I use it. And it prevents new ones from forming. And last night before I went to sleep, I put on the deep firming serum with stem cell technology. I love this stuff. I woke up this morning, as I do every morning. I thought, I look like I just went to the spa. So right now, save over 70% on Genucel's most popular package, featuring Genucel's Ultra Retinol that contains a powerful retinol alternative, safe on pregnancy, safe for breastfeeding. You'll also get Genucel's Dark Spot Corrector to reduce the appearance of dark marks and sunspots from those long summer days outdoors. Plus, you'll still get Genucel's classic under eye bags therapy for those under eye bags and puffiness, and it's got immediate effects. You will see results in as little as 12 hours guaranteed, or your money back. Don't wait. Celebrate your favorite mom by going to Genucel.com, Genucel.com. king.com/Michelle to save over 70% off their most popular package. Plus, every package includes a luxury gift box with 3 free springtime essentials. That's 3 free gifts plus free concierge shipping for a limited time. Go to genucel.com/Michelle, GENUCEL.com/MICHELE. Get your 70% off your gift for your Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day, everyone. Well, as promised, here is King Randall, and I'm meeting you for the first time, and I'm so excited to meet you because I'm inspired by what you're doing. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm just glad to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're 23 years old, you told me right before we started rolling.
Hmm.
And what you're doing is amazing at any age, really. But the youth of you, it's incredible. So I want to learn a little bit more about you, so I know how you came to this place. You were born in Albany, Georgia.
Yep, born and raised in Albany. Graduated from Westover High School here in Albany when I was 17. I also graduated culinary school here in Albany from Albany Technical College when I was 17. Also, I did the dual enrollment program where you can get
Nice.
your degree while you're in high school. So I did that. But yeah, I've been in Albany my whole life for the most part. Yep.
So at 17, you get out of high school and culinary school. What did you do next?
Went to the Marine Corps.
Wow. Wow.
Yep,
And
went to the
what
Marine
made you
Corps.
decide to do that?
Being directly honest with you, I had 3 best friends at the time. They all went at the same time. And so I was just back by myself working at Chick-fil-A. I had just got married and stuff. And yeah, that's how that happened. And I was just like, I got to find something to do. So I
Yeah, oh,
just went
there we
ahead.
go. So you followed your friends.
Yeah.
And what was the experience like for you?
It was probably the worst, best, most terrible, beautiful experience ever. It's all that put into one. So I'll say that. Met a lot of friends, discovered a lot about myself, and it was challenging for the most part mentally. I mean, it was a few physical challenges, sure, but it was mostly mental challenges, dealing with people, learning how to be a team and things like that. But overall, I met a lot of brothers and a lot of friends, and it was a great experience. And it also helps me with how I discipline my students right now in school. So it helped a whole lot. I always say God, puts you in different places for different reasons, and I believe I was able to have that experience to be able to teach the students in my school right now.
So when did you leave the Marines?
I left the Marines when I was like 20, 21, I believe. I immediately started working in my community. Immediately after that, some of my unit still keeps up with me to this day. They've helped volunteer. They've helped do things with the students in our school, my old recruiters and things like that. And the reason I started working immediately in my community was because while I was in the Marines, one of my classmates got sentenced to 30 years in prison for a murder. He wasn't at the actual murder, but he hid the murder weapon. And while I was in court with him, the judge was asking, did anybody want to come speak on their behalf or anything? And I went and I was just like, is there anything that we could do for him? I'm just like, we're 18 years old. Obviously he wasn't at the actual murder. He could have made a better decision, sure, but do we have any like rehab or any type of programs we could get him into or something? And he was just like, no. So I was just like, why don't we have any rehab programs for like juvenile offenders or just younger people to help them stay off the streets, stay out of these different environments where they shouldn't be at, and something with some true consistency. And that's where I got the idea to start our program. I started January 2019. It's just about 9 days before my first son was born. And we started that program doing field trips. And it skyrocketed from there. We started teaching boys how to change oil, change brakes. We started teaching them how to paint, teaching them how to work on houses, changing ceiling fans, changing toilets, doing sheetrock, flooring, you name it. And then getting into teaching them how to read. So it's a lot that happened in between, starting the program and now.
Yeah.
And the reasons why I did all these things, but I'll allow you to ask more questions, of course.
Well, yeah, it's fascinating that you would be in this courtroom situation and see your friend going through this. Is your friend, he's still in prison?
Mm-hmm. Yep, still in prison. Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's, as you said, could have made a better decision, should have made a better decision. But instead of being bitter and angry and rebellious about it, you decided to do something productive. What inspired, what is it about your background? What was built into you, King, that made you want to be proactive out of this instead of just sit back and be angry?
I definitely give credit to my family, my grandfather and my uncles who helped raise me, my pastor, who helped raise me, growing up. So I learned how to do a lot of those skill trades outside growing up. I was like 12, 13 years old. I learned how to weld and paint cars, and we built all of our sheds in the background. We grew all of our food. Like literally, if my mom wanted us to we wanted food, she would tell us to go outside and pick it. Like we literally grew everything that we had. We had all types of animals. Oh, so I learned how to take care of dogs, chickens. I mean, it was a very country lifestyle.
Yeah.
And what helped me want to be able to teach the community was my stepfather and my mom and everybody in the community, like we all helped each other. All the kids would come over to my mom and my stepdad's house, and we would do Bible study. They would come eat dinner, everything, and even the guy across the street, the guy behind the house. Like I mean, everybody, like it was a big community type deal. The guy down the street taught us how to lay bricks, and we closed in our garage. And I mean, this is a community ordeal where I lived at. Like everybody was in tune with each other. Everybody was a village. And I thought that would be something that everybody had, but everybody didn't.
Yeah.
And so learning how to do so much growing up and then seeing so many boys not be able to do anything and not even knowing how to read, that's where I was like, yeah, we're going to have to to really dig into a lot of these things, especially the reading and writing, because children read and write horribly.
Mm.
To the
Yeah.
point where it's like they haven't had any type of training at all, but they're in school their whole lives. It absolutely makes no sense to me. So and that's why I started doing what I was doing.
So you start when you're so young, and you. How did you build this thing? Like, I mean, this has not been an easy road, and I know you've run up against some problems trying to, get a building site and all the things that you want and need to run a school. So you have this idea. How did you put it
hmm
into motion? How did you finance it? Where did you start?
Originally, I started out of my house. I started our first camps at home. They were in my dining room. And I got some tables that people would give to me. I put it on Facebook. Does anybody have any tables or whatever? And we had put the tables in the dining room, and I bought me a little whiteboard that was maybe by about like 20 by 40 or something.
Yeah.
And I would write on that dry erase whiteboard, and I would teach definitions, teach them about money, teach them about reading, language arts,
And where were
history.
these
I
kids
did.
coming from? Were they all just in Albany? Did you know them in some way? How did you get these kids to come to you?
I made a flyer on my phone and told people what I'd be offering. And I posted it on Facebook, and parents were interested because nobody else had been teaching those things in the city of Albany. So that's where the kids come from. I knew none of them, except for my younger brother, of course. I've raised him since he was about 11 or 12, I believe. He and I have different moms, but the same father.
Mhm.
But I raised him since he was about 11 or 12, but only him. But other than that, all the other kids were brand spanking new. And for parents to trust a 19-year-old kid at the time to run a summer camp out of his house, it was quite interesting. And I'm grateful to those parents, and I'm grateful to the staff I have now, because so much happened at that time that I didn't know. I didn't have no like paperwork, no allergy information, no like all the stuff you're supposed to have that I have now, of
Yeah.
course. I didn't know anything about any of that. I didn't know what a nonprofit was. I didn't know what an LLC was. I'm just working with kids. So that's
So,
so that's how we
so
got
who stepped
started.
in to help you? How did you find people to help support and grow this school?
Sure. So I think maybe the summer of 2021, I was on social media, and a friend of mine was telling me that I should start posting more like what we were doing, because at the time I wasn't posting what we were doing. I was just doing it. And people were like, you should start posting these things online because people would be inspired and really need to see what you're doing. So I started posting, and we were posting for months, and I wasn't really getting any traction at all. Maybe like 2 likes on Twitter or something like that. But, one day it circulated on Twitter, and next thing you know, we got invited to the White House with President Trump out of nowhere. And we received like so much love from there. Our social media kind of skyrocketed from there. Well, not necessarily skyrocketed at that time, but we got a lot of traction. We were able to raise a lot of money. We raised like $20,000 for our first building that we were trying to buy in about a couple of days, and we were just raising money. And I was posting more videos, posting more things that me and the boys had been doing, such as firearms training and welding and all this stuff that we've been showing our students. and people were loving it. And I I think maybe a month or so after that, we started getting invited to different places to come, show what we were doing, and I would get invited to talk to different places. So it started gaining traction a little bit
Right.
slowly. I still didn't have a team at the time; it was just me. And the next year, one of my friends that used to work in Girl Scouts, she's very big on nonprofits and logistics and things like that. So I was like, hey, could you come help me do what I'm doing? And when she got to me and saw everything that was happening, she was like, oh, no, no, no. She shut the program down for about a month to get everything together. She was like, no, you can't do this. She was like, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're gonna get in trouble. You're going to jail. So yeah, so she shut everything down for a minute so she could get all the paperwork together and get all the parents to sign their kids up properly and make me a nonprofit and get all this, squared away to start out. So we did all that. We got our paperwork together. I did an interview in March of 2021 with Roland Martin. And we got into a little disagreement there. And the interview went internationally viral overnight. I woke up in the morning and all of my social media had exploded, and people
Let me
from
ask you a
all over the
question, because a
world.
lot of people
Go
don't know
ahead.
who Roland Martin is, and he's kind of a bombastic gentleman who what he invite you on his podcast, on his show?
Yes, I got on Twitter and I was talking about why I decided to open a school, and I think we should start doing for self in our communities. And he got up, he didn't like it, and he shared it and called me an idiot. And I was just like, how am I an idiot for wanting us to get up and do things for our community? I'm like, I don't understand. But people always take me saying do for self like that's the only way we can make something happen. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people really want to rely and ask the government for stuff. I don't have an issue with that. You do that on your own time. However, I still feel like we still should try and do something. Like I'm not just going to sit and do nothing until the government gives us some
Absolutely.
money or something. I
And
think
he
that's
had a
dumb.
problem. He called you an idiot?
Yep, called me an idiot, and then he invited me on the show to talk about voting rights because he was saying that we should be fighting for more voting rights, and I'm just like, what voting rights don't we have? I mean, we had a whole civil rights movement. I don't understand. Like, did we not have voting rights act passed? But like I told him then, he was explaining like certain things that may be blocking people from voting. I'm like, well, that's great. Please fight that fight. If these things are actually happening, fight that fight. I support you, but don't tell me that my work isn't as important because you're fighting for voting and these kids are being starved and molested and abused at home, and I'm working with them directly every day. But don't tell me that my fight is any less than yours. I support your fight, so support mine. And I was just telling him we all have different parts of the body, and the lungs may not be able to do what the liver does, but everybody needs to work together, not fighting each other. The lungs shouldn't be telling the liver that you need to be helping me breathe. Like, no, that's dumb. Everybody plays their part. And that went viral. I mean, all types of celebrities reached out. Layla Ali, Rihanna. I mean, you name
They
it. It was
reached
so
out to
many different.
you?
They all sent DMs and were saying they're proud of what I was doing and stuff. And it was crazy. It was a big
Bravo.
whirlwind. I was all over TV
Bravo.
and everything. Yep. So
Bravo. I
that's how we
mean,
raised the money.
this is what I love about you, King. Many things that I'm learning, but I follow you on Twitter, and you are not afraid. And I have seen other people criticize your work, and I think someone even said this Booker T. Washington effort is not how it's done, and it was a woman who was saying this too. And as you know, I have the Booker T. Washington photo behind me because I think the man was a genius and
Hmm.
and did and a self-made man, and it's his story is amazing to me. And so
Absolutely.
I was so that's what got my attention when people started criticizing you for having that can do, independent, we can help ourselves attitude, and to take you to task for that drove me crazy. And I hope, it seems to me you're able to handle it. It seems to me you're letting it roll off your back. And I pray to God, I'm not kidding you, that continues to happen because we need
Hmm.
you. We need you. And I don't understand why people are dismissing what you're doing. How do you, when you see that, what goes through your soul when you see that kind of stuff online?
I mean, I try and talk to people because I don't really like start trolling or anything unless they just
Yeah.
don't want to try and hear what I'm saying. Like I'm like, listen to what I'm saying. I'm listening to you. I understand your fight. I understand what you mean. If you believe reparations is the way, please fight that fight and do your thing. But do not tell me that we shouldn't be doing it. Like they're like, oh, you're just destined for failure because the government is not going to give us reparations. I disagree. I'm like, there are so many successful black people. There are so many successful black people that are out doing things, that have money, that have great jobs, have great families, and are not just living paycheck to paycheck. Like they actually live good lives. And we have to showcase this to our students so that way we could, make sure that they, believe that they could do something. Why would I tell an 11-year-old that his life is destined to fail because he didn't get reparations? Then he's never going to want to do anything. I'm like, he's never going to want to be successful. He's going to think that the only way he could survive is to have reparations. And then I had these guys telling me that, oh, they're still going to go out and get killed, and the police are still going to stop them and all that, no matter what you teach them and everything. So I'm like, oh, so just shut the school down and just go fight for reparations, huh? Like, I'm like, just bump the kids, bump everything we got going on. Don't teach them nothing, just reparations. Like, I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how it's going to work. I believe in supporting everybody's fight. If you believe that's your area, we will support you from our side. However, do not tell us that our work isn't as important as yours is. And like I said, everybody, has the different parts of the body. I don't understand what the fight was. I also can understand that people have a lot of PTSD from a lot of happenings that were supposed to happen and never did. But we have proof. I post everything that we do. One thing people love about our organization is the transparency. We have shared every single thing that there was to share about the school, from purchasing every building, from purchasing the land, everything that we've done. People have been able to see with their eyeballs, and we invite everybody to come and see what we're doing. The address is public. Come on and see us. We don't have to prepare for you or anything. But some people think it's fake. They were taking people to task, trying to convince people that the school was not real. They had a Twitter space. It was like 3,000 people in there trying to convince people that the school isn't here. I'm like, I'm literally sitting right here watching you guys on this space try to convince people that the school is not an actual place. I'm like, it is. We have a big 41,000 square foot building that we can't hide, that we invited people to help us work on. Like, that's where we are, though. And
it's,
here we are.
And my other prayer for you is that those people don't get to you. The x4boys.org, the letter x4boys.org. How did you come up with that name?
Oh, yes. People ask this all the time. I think you've seen on the website where it says solve for X. It's like a math equation. You have to solve for X. Yep, and we're teaching the X to boys. So it's the X for boys. The X is teaching manhood, teaching proper masculinity. This is all what X equals. So it's the X for boys, again, like a math equation.
Right, gotcha. It's clever. And tell us about your boys. Tell us about these boys that come to your school. And I know you have some camps too that are open to boys and young girls that can come and do a weekend camp. But tell us about the students that you see, and any particular thing that's really heartened you about them.
Well, without getting into their specific names or anything like that, right. I mean, a lot of them, they go through different things. They have different things that they've been through. They've learned different things. And a lot of them, it makes me feel good when their parents talk about how they're doing better at home, because we do board the kids so that they stay. And we do that because we want to kind of take them away from their environments. We've discovered a lot from having the children actually live with us. We've saved a lot of children from them actually having to live with us, from some of the things I mentioned before, from finding out about them being molested and being abused and starved. And I mean, we've been able to save a lot of children like that. And of course, we don't have all great stories. People hear these organizations, it's like, oh yeah, everybody's perfect and all the kids are going to succeed. No. We have failures. We have times where parents and I disagree, and we have all those hiccups just like every other school and every other organization. But our students, they have had, tough times. They've had great times, from them having to eat hot and ready pizzas with me, when we didn't have any funds. When I first started boarding them, they were in my living room. I got some bunk beds and put them in my living room, and I made it happen. So we eating hot and ready pizzas and beans and weenies and noodles, trying to make it happen. But I never charged a dime to parents. I never asked them for anything. I've always wanted everything to stay and remain free. Even our boarding school right now is free. And God has blessed us with people to be able to help take care of our school. Do we struggle? Absolutely. Do we have great times? Absolutely. Do the bills get a little tough? Absolutely. Are we able to take care of them all the time? Yeah, sure. Yeah, but it gets tough. The bills get 5 figures a month, and mostly, and that's light bill, Wi-Fi, haircuts, uniforms, food. I mean, all of that to remain not government funded. I do believe, we should be able to teach what we want. And I turned down becoming a charter school because I didn't want our curriculum to be bothered or tampered with, or I didn't want to have anybody to say anything about what we were trying to teach. So I'd rather have the 9 students that we have now versus the 150, because I want to make sure they're actually being transformed and actually being molded. I don't believe that children could really be like molded unless they really go to a boarding environment where they're building routines. Routines build habits, habits build character, and character makes the man.
Amen again. It's remarkable. So, and I want you to feel sure, because here's how I see it from out here. You've got 9 kids there in the school right now. The ripple effect that they will have from having had their lives changed throughout the rest of society, whether it's there in Albany, Georgia, or anywhere else, is going to make that impact far bigger than just 9 boys. And it's remarkable what you're doing. So what, if people want to help, how can they help? What's the best way? Is it you need donations, right?
Of course, but we also have like our Amazon wish list, Walmart wish list. So for people who don't have to necessarily give monetary donations, we a lot of stuff we get people donate, like all of our beds and desks and things like that. People donated to our school, so people don't have to like directly donate funds. And also you can go on our website and look at all the pictures of things we've done, videos of things we've done. I mean, everything's there on the website, and share those with your friends and family, your boss at work, wherever. Sharing things is a big support too for people who say they can't, give anything financially. It's always great to share what we're doing so people could see what's happening and be inspired to do things where they are. So I know a lot of people get upset when they're not able to give, and that's totally fine. You can give support by sharing things that we're doing, posting our pictures, tagging us, and letting it circulate, because that's how we do it. And I have people, who give. I know this lady, she can only afford to give $1 a month, but she does. Everything counts, and things like
Everything
that.
counts.
Yeah, everything counts. Absolutely.
That is so touching. That is so touching that she gives $1 a month. It's probably, like you said, it's all she can do, but she's going to do it. That is so cool. What is the status of your building? How is that progressing?
Sure. So we still have our 41,000 square foot building. During the summertime of last year is when we did the most renovations to it. We've had the building for about 2 years now, and we were already running our after school program out of it. Our after school program presently has about 45 children signed up altogether.
Awesome.
So we do still do after school as well as the actual school. But our building right now, we had to leave the premises because somebody was calling reporting about things that were happening at the school, which is nothing was happening. We had a storm come back in, I think, September or October, and our school was in line of the storm that happened. It came and destroyed the church, and we remember we had a visitor that day, and the building was shaking and everything when the storm came through, and it was water like flooding the floors. I mean, it was insane. It was a bad storm. But we were fine, it was still workable, and we were just gonna, take care of those few little things. But we get a fire marshal come to the door one day, and he's like, yeah, we've been getting some calls about complaints. I'm like, who's complaining about this? Nobody's even here besides us and the students. Who's calling complaining about our school? They was like, well, we just been getting a few calls, just we need to come see what's happening here or whatever like that. So, but they premised it as if they were trying to help us like that. So I was like, okay, you guys can come. Because he was like, yeah, we just want to see, how we guys can help you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I let them come see what was wrong. And, I was showing them this and that. I'm like, yeah, we need to get this done and that done. He's like, okay, well, we'll reconvene and we'll come back and we'll let you know what you can do and blah, 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 blah. And the next day, it was like 11 people in badges came to the school. And we had to pause classes. And they were in the middle of martial arts at the time. Had to pause classes and everything because they wanted to come look through the building, and still under the guise of trying to help us, with our school. And they were just like, yeah, okay, we just, going around, you got these guys taking pictures and everything. They're like, we're just trying to make sure everything's good. And, we want to make sure you guys can be successful and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, all right, cool. And the next day I get this one guy coming to serve us this letter. And he was like, we have to leave the premises. And if we don't leave, I'm subject to fines or jail time. And we're not allowed on this premises unless we're cleaning up or renovating. So we had to leave the building. Luckily, we have we purchased our office buildings. So we still do school out of our office buildings. We have 3 office buildings that we purchased before we purchased the actual school building. And we have our boarding home. That's my boyhood home. My mom purchased it for us. She bought it back, and we renovated that. X Insurance actually paid for the renovations. X Insurance Company out of Utah, they paid for the renovations to the boarding home. So we turned it into a 9-bedroom, 3-bath home, and the children were staying there for boarding. So we had a boarding home, and we'll come here every day for school. And that's how that worked out. So either way,
It
God had a
feels,
ram in the bush.
yeah, you're facing a lot of headwinds. I mean, it seems to me like there are some people who just don't want this to succeed. What gives you the most hope?
Well, them and the students and the people that don't want it to succeed, because I just have a head like, well, if you don't want it to happen, now I have to make it happen. If this is going to attack the status quo, then let's do it. They've got me to a point now where I just want to eradicate the whole school system in town. I don't even want the public school system here.
Yeah.
And that's just is what it is because of things that happen with us and the school system and things I've heard about, and things I've seen with my own eyes to try and hurt our program. So I'm just like, well, I just got to become a gazillionaire and go buy every piece of land in Albany and make schools so that way nobody gets to come to the public school and everybody has to come to our school for free. So we're going to make it happen. And I firmly believe that. So I stayed up about 36 hours one night and made a whole plan as to how I'm going to do that. So give me about 5 to 7 years and we'll start seeing that slowly progress here in the city of Albany and take it other cities also.
I can't wait to watch, and I'm going to be following you online and watching and cheering you on from here because I think these first 9 kids that you have right now, they're very fortunate to be with you, and I congratulate you. And we're sharing links with people about how to support you if they want to support your organization. And I know you've got some camps coming and so forth. Good luck, man. King, it's so nice to meet you. And it's good to hear that you're getting support from Layla Ali and Rihanna. That's pretty nice.
Yep.
So great. Hang in there, man. You've got cheerleaders up here in Minnesota as well.
Thank you. And I would love to come visit. I hadn't been to Minnesota before. I've been all over the country for the most part, but I hadn't been there. So would love to visit one day also.
Well, either I'll come to you or you come here and we'll show you around, but I'd love to come see the school when it's ready.
Sure.
I'll make a point of that. I'll make a point of that. Best to you, King. He is King Randall.
Thank you.
Again, the school is in Albany, Georgia. The organization, the xforboys.org. Again, this is Solving for X. They're looking for a solution to this problem. And I love the way you put it. The lungs can't do what the heart does. The liver can't do what the lungs do. Every part of the body has to work together. And I give it to you. You've got heart. That is for sure. Thank you, King.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Michelle Tafoya Show. And as always, like this young man, be brave and do good. Thanks for listening.